Here today, not only for the show that we have for you guys, but for Heroes of Newerth in general. Of course, patch 3.2 has officially been released. I believe it's called Salomon's Fortune. Anyways, patch 3.2, a lot of changes happening, especially on the balance side of things, and that's why we are here today to go ahead and discuss those. Of course, I'm Breaky CPK, and as you can see, I'm joined by the one and only, the great DOGKaiser, lead balance of Heroes of Newerth. How you doing, DOGKaiser?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Breaky?
I'm doing terrific as always, man. I'm looking forward to discussing today, because again, I'm just even looking at this patch once again from the patch notes. I mean, there really was quite a bit of changes here in this balance patch here.
There were, and we got them out pretty quickly too. I'm very happy with all the changes we've got out and just the focus that we've set for this patch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely showed here. And, you know, with that said, so to kind of quickly go over what the viewers can expect here on this podcast. So right off the bat, I know yesterday we did announce that I asked Riser live on cast if he was going to be able to join us. Initially he was, but something came up last minute. He had to go. So instead it's going to be more of a one-on-one. Really, I'm going to be doing, you know, asking some questions and whatnot and getting some input, of course, from DOGKaiser, and also give you the community a chance perhaps to get some select questions from you guys that hopefully at least DOGKaiser can do his best to answer, because he loves doing that. So looking forward to having some good time with that. So anyways, though, this patch, I think it's safe to say this is the biggest balance patch that we've had since the Runic Shift, right?
Yes, of course.
And how long would you say has this been in the works, like a lot of these changes?
Most of this patch started right after the Runic Shift. So I mean, I would say 3 months for a lot of them. You know, we've already got changes lined up even for the next patch to come. Mm-hmm. We're always trying new things and trying to get ahead of the game. So
yeah, and it's quite a bit of changes happening in this one. As far as what we're gonna go over, I mean, you pretty much plan to go over the good amount. Obviously, ones that are very minor, maybe not as much, but you know, we got maybe an hour at least to kill, if not around an hour and a half here. To kind of get your input and
however long you want me, Breaky.
However long. Okay, so 3 hours, guys, at least. We're going to be going here on this
That's
podcast.
what it usually is, isn't it?
It seems like
we'll try to make it a little bit more bearable for everyone else.
A little more
I love
to the
doing
point.
it, so
yeah,
no problem for me.
It definitely is. Just a lot of fun to talk to, and obviously it gets directly from the source itself. I mean, that's the coolest part about it, that you're willing to, you know, take your time and obviously not only talk to myself, but the community as well. You know, what has happened here with this patch, so... well, I mean, we might as well jump right into it. The first and most important change is happening as far as anything competitive is concerned. Mid-wars. Mid-wars being changed here with this patch. No, I'm joking, obviously. We're not even going to talk. I don't think there's really... Unless you want to give your input on what the mid-war changes were for concerning.
Just real quick, we can. I mean, they were geared towards, you know, trying to create that action to happen more often. Because, you know, everyone loves the mid-wars games where there's, you know, kind of a controversy that's happening. People don't usually like it when there's a standoff moment where, you know, 5 guys are sitting on one side, the other 5 guys are sitting on the other side. So we're just trying to, with that rune and spawning in the middle, just create something that players are going to go for and create some action right away in the beginning of the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the idea of one blind band for each person as well. I think that's actually going to be pretty nice.
Yeah, the blind band was to give, you know, so it's just not one person doing all the bands, so that you feel like you have a little bit of control, each player does, and not just, you know, that whoever ends up getting blue and pink.
Yeah, that's nice. And for being quite the mid-wars player myself, honestly, I'm actually pretty happy.
Like
I know, right? It's honestly just such a fun mode, and it's a really great way to just enjoy the game and not have to worry about that, you know, the rage aspect, as I tend to do. I'll be honest. So
yeah, and that was the other thing, we were trying to make it more fun with the gold bounty changes, so that everyone feels like they're still getting gold even if they don't get the kill. Now you're still gonna end up getting the majority of the gold if you get, you know, the kill. So don't worry about that. But it's just kind of splitting it up a little bit more so that people that get, you know, 20 assists with 0 kills, they're gonna feel like they're still getting something and can get those items.
It has, with the introduction, Mid-Wars has obviously been in for a while now, but now that it's been quite a bit of time, I mean, is it safe to say that maybe Mid-Wars has made your job a little more difficult? I know you don't balance around Mid-Wars necessarily, but
sometimes it has, just because you know, some people really care about the mid-wars. So you know, when we make new heroes and new abilities, we do have to sort of keep that in mind. Like, it's not like we're trying to balance around it, but we also don't want to exclude that mode where you're just unplayable because of certain abilities or concepts. So yes, actually, it has made part of my job more difficult.
But at the same time, again, when you introduce such a great game mode, just a lot of fun to play, it's understandable. But in the end, I mean, I see it as, not really worrying about the balance behind it, just a way to smash buttons and own the other players.
It's not like we remove concepts because of mid-wars. It's just we got to keep it in mind so that we don't end up ruining the mode that so many people like yourself have enjoyed.
Yeah. All right, so moving on though with the patch notes here. So of course that was on top of the list. The next one in line here, the captain's pick. Now we got the chance to talk with you a little bit about this already. This was more before it's even obviously in the game, and you got the announcement of it. But now that it's in the game, I mean, what are you expecting to see the most out of captain's pick here?
The most I'm expecting games to be going a little bit faster. Like the picking to go a little bit faster to get people in the action, which I think that'll be a lot more spectator friendly for sure. The other thing I'm hoping for that a lot of competitors have brought up to me is maybe that final pick, or those final picks being somewhat of surprise picks. So maybe people are going to try some new lineups with that. And maybe people feel a little bit more comfortable with this without the blind bans. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm not sold on it yet, but that's what I'm hoping for with the mode.
Okay. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I've always been under. I've said this now a couple times. I mean, as it is changed in the end, and which is I think it's, and you think as well. I mean, it is a good thing. It definitely gets changed going into Haunter Season 2, and no doubt that helps the mentality in general, no matter how big or small the change might be in the end. Now, when it comes to seeing more heroes perhaps that are a little more diverse, I personally am still a little skeptical. I really am still a little skeptical. We do get Haunter Season 2 starting this weekend, though, so we'll have to wait and see how that goes. In fact, even tomorrow, I can't believe I keep saying. I mean, it freaking starts tomorrow, jeez. But with the qualifier starting tomorrow, so we'll see how it goes. But if anything, I think it's going to take a little bit of time, perhaps. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I think the changes will have more impact on whether we see, like the hero changes will have more impact on whether we see different or new heroes than what the captain's pick will be. But I'm, a lot of competitive players have brought up to me they think captain's pick will, have that impact. So I'm really hoping that they're correct and I'm wrong in this situation.
that would be the best for everyone, really, wouldn't it?
That's right. So, I'm okay with being wrong.
Yeah, exactly, especially in this case. I mean, ultimately, it always goes back to as well, it is on the competitors. I mean, they're the ones that have the option to, pick certain heroes if they would like. It's just a matter of, adapting and willing to be diverse when it comes down to it. So, again, we'll see starting this week with the qualifiers to see how things are changed with the new captain's mode introduction. So, or captain's pick, excuse me. All right, so this next one actually on this list, and I'm gonna pull up my game real quick. I actually had it open for this. I'll go ahead. So adding the new tournament stats tab. Now, I think this is the best change of this patch. I could care less about the balance after seeing this. I loved this. In fact, here I'll show you guys what it is. In case you weren't even aware yet. So in the game, under the stats tab for any player, there's actually now a new tab called Tournament Stats. It's purple and everything, as you can see. And what this stats tab is for, it actually sorts it by specific tournaments now that use the Haunter system, especially once Haunter starts. Every single cycle is going to be eligible to be able to be, selected. And you can see stats specifically to that event. Right now it has the Ultimate Series Monkey King and Panda Soul event, but again, once Haunter starts going, you're going to be able to see stats specifically for those events. As a spectator, as a stats lover, I mean, I love this, and I can't wait to start using it more and more. As a balance, though, I would think that this is actually pretty good information for you as well, DOGKaiser.
Of course. It's like it's easy to access. I don't have to pester people to try to get the information. I can just go look it up myself, and it's real easy to find various games. It's going to be very handy just in my job in general, of course. And I believe that, players are going to enjoy that a lot too. If they want to, follow their favorite player, it's going to be a lot easier.
Yeah.
They won't have to ask so many questions about where to find information. It'll just be at their fingertips instead. So yes, I agree with you, Breaky. This is going to be a very handy system, a very good tool for anyone.
Yeah, when I heard that was going to be introduced into the patch, I I squealed like a little girl. I'm not gonna lie. That was exciting stuff. So
I can't say that I did that, but
no. But and the other cool thing about it too is actually a problem that Haunter Season 1 did incur. Unfortunately, was the replay system. There was a lot of bugginess when it came to replays. With this tab, it sorts the replays specifically for that event as well. So hopefully, I mean, that should be taken care of as well and make things a lot easier. When it comes down to it, so
should very much so.
Looking forward to that, man. That's going to be a lot of fun to use that. So, all right, now it's time to start getting into more of the balancing of the heroes themselves. So this is where it starts to get pretty fun, DOGKaiser.
That's right.
And you can explain yourself for all these doings here. I guess we can start with on the top of the list here. We might as well. So Sir Bensington and Prisoner 945 introduced into tournament rules. So that means, well, we'll talk about it in just a second, I guess. But Prisoner 945 and Sir Bensington going into tournament rules. Do you personally feel that they're going to have an impact? I mean,
Prisoner, I actually think that he could if some players want to try to utilize him, especially against, say, Rally. He can mobilize restrain, I think would be the correct term. Restrain Rally, and Rally can no longer compel. You can use that restrain against Rally himself or against one of his allies, and then Rally wouldn't be able to compel him away. So I think he could be a pretty strong counter in that sense against Rally.
Mm-hmm.
Sir Bensington, I think it's probably going to take a specific team play, like kind of more of a wanting to roam around and gank, maybe a combination with Sandray. So I think it's going to take a certain play style or team lineup to make you want to run Sir Bensington. He does offer a lot of damage and a lot of mobility for your team, but if teams don't want to run that type of play style, I would find it hard to believe to see him used on a team. So.
Sir Bensington. Well, the other thing about Prisoner 945 too is Monkey King as well. Obviously, that doubles great against Monkey King, and we do see him
forget about that one.
Yeah, so he definitely can fit that niche if you're looking for a counter, especially with Captain's pick, that final pick now. I mean, it could come out there. I honestly wouldn't be surprised. That is considered more of a counter pick for heroes, like you said. So
it makes it so Monkey King cannot use his elusive dash or his Heavenly Vault. So it's a pretty big deal for Monkey King.
Yeah, so Rally and Monkey King, two heroes that we do see quite a bit, especially Rally. So there's some place for him. Sir Bensington's the really interesting one for me. We were talking about this a little bit, and we've seen Sandwraith lineups quite a bit recently. Sandwraith brings that global presence, that global gank presence of being able to, press R and basically, ideally get a free kill out of it in certain cases, tied up with an empath or whatnot, or some other global hero. And Sir Bensington could definitely fit along, I think, when it comes down to a strategy like that. I'm not sure. I can't say for certain how strong his laning phase is. I don't know where he would necessarily be in the laning phase, but it's going to be interesting to see if he, too, is a hero that we see picked up. But we'll have to wait and see again, kind of like the Captain's pick and whatnot. So, going to be fun to see how those two, if they have an impact. I mean, I will say, though, I've been a little bit disappointed with the Runic Shift, the 6 heroes that were introduced with that, how we really haven't seen much of those heroes, other than Lodestone, of course. Lodestone, definitely we've seen a lot, but the other 5, really not as much, if really at all. So,
unfortunately not.
Yeah.
But some heroes take a long time to come onto the market. For instance, Master of Arms received very few changes when he was first released into the competitive scene. And, it took him months before he was hot on the market. And now he's used pretty much every game. So some heroes just take a while until they fit either the meta or teams really learn how to or even want to exploit just how good they are.
I think that's the biggest thing, the more so willing to try something different in the end. So going back here, okay, so with these two being introduced, that means now 2 heroes in total are not in tournament play. One being Salomon. He never was in tournament play, so no matter, even with this change, I mean, that didn't really change anything in that sense, so he never was eligible for tournament play. Artillery, though, this was interesting to hear. Artillery being removed from tournament play. I can see why, though. I mean, he had a lot of changes, which we'll get into in just a moment. I guess, you know what, we might as well transition into that because it's kind of hard to talk about it without with referring to this point. So he's earlier in the list anyway. So Artillery, he got a lot of changes. I do have them on screen right now. His LRM obviously getting changed. Basically, he all got changed. So I'll let you actually kind of take over with artillery here?
This one was actually a pretty hard one for me to decide whether to take him out of tournament rules or not. On the one side, he's, his main hero was already allowed in tournament rules, so you kind of want to keep him still allowed.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the other side, he has so many different changes, and the way he plays is so different from where he originally was, that you don't really want to allow him just because of what he might break or what he might end up doing to the scene. Just that thought of what might happen or what could happen, and then there's really nothing you can do about it because he's kind of already been played and already been used.
Yeah.
So that's kind of in the end of where we just kind of went with, let's just hold him off right now. Maybe we'll try to get him in as quickly as possible. But for starters, we just want to make sure that the competitive scene is still going to have some stability. Mm-hmm. So that was the end decision to keep him out. Now, as far as the changes are concerned, just in the notes, you can see that we really went for like a long range hero. Yeah. We wanted to, kill his attack range, no longer make him focused on auto attacks. We have enough heroes that are focused on just auto attacks and long range auto attacks in general. We wanted to make this hero focused on his abilities and his abilities shooting at an extremely long range. And I think we've really accomplished that just in playing with him mm-hmm. and playing against him, that you really want to get in his face. And if you get in his face, he doesn't do nearly as much in comparison to if you're trying to fight him at, say, like 1,000 range or something, because that's kind of where artillery really wants you, is kind of like in that 1,000 range mix. Exactly, away, yeah. Exactly. And to help emphasize that, that's another reason why we removed his ultimates, because if he still had his old ultimate, then it would be much harder to get on top of him. Mm-hmm. With a pushback, it was already difficult to get on the old artillery. So we really wanted to, again, like we said, emphasize that you want to get in this guy's face, and that's how you deal with him. And he wants to kind of stay far away from you, slightly immobile due to his LRM, but dishes out a ton of damage at a long range and can support his team from long range as well.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I got from these changes here with artillery is the old artillery. Now in this case, he was considered by a lot of people to basically be a better Flint Beastwood in the end. I mean, a better Flint Beastwood. He had the range auto attacks. He had an escape mechanism that was very effective. He had better farming potential, you could argue. So in a sense, again, he was kind of a better Flint Beastwood. But Burrow had that dev blog very recently that discussed about the idea that the direction that you guys are going with designing heroes and whatnot, and the whole balancing and reworking heroes, is you want to give those unique abilities to every single hero. You want every single hero to fit a very unique style or whatever, I guess, when it comes down to it. And
we want to emphasize those characteristics of the hero, rather than just having them kind of like a secondary. Like our old artillery, his long range mechanic was kind of secondary in comparison to like his auto attack, like you said, with the Flint Beastwood. So we wanted to make the long range presence his primary rather than his secondary. So
I love the homing missile. Now single target ability that will follow its target no matter what. It's just like, don't even try to escape. It's going to hit you. Don't even try. I assume like a shrunken head will prevent the damage and the stun on the homing missile, or?
I'm pretty sure that it does.
It does the damage because it says magic damage. I don't know about the stun though, I guess.
I'm pretty sure the stun is not superior.
Okay.
I know we had it superior at once in SBT. I want to say that we took that out, probably because I complained about it.
A little too strong, yeah.
Well, it's one of those things where if you have no way to avoid it at all, then you've got to at least give some play for the team.
Even like disjoining, that doesn't work? Like a Magma Stun, Lava Surge, or something like that?
If you go invulnerable at the same time that the missile hits, that will dodge it. Okay. So like a bubbles take cover. If you magma stun into the missile, that would miss it. But other than that, the missile will still keep following you.
Okay.
Even if you were to like portal key or something like that.
Yeah. So you have to time it to where it exactly hits you to destroy it. Okay. So that's fair. And it doesn't travel that fast from what I've seen.
It speeds up the longer it goes.
Okay. So it gets faster. Gotcha. Yeah, we were actually just testing that a little bit before we became on this podcast, and the range it's the special ammunition, that with LRM especially. I mean, the LRM is ridiculously long range when you get level 4 of both. It's actually pretty crazy to see, so it's going to be fun to see where he goes.
It's very fun to homing missile someone if they can't see you, especially, and then
Yeah.
LRM them from the 2K range that you just mentioned. And that's really where he excels at, is just trying to find those targets at really far range and just pick them off.
All right, so artillery again removed from tournament rules, so not going to be seeing him in tournament play. So Joel, I'm sure is disappointed.
Probably.
In that, but for
Sorry.
now at least. So you haven't heard from him? He hasn't messaged you yet?
No, I'm surprised
Okay.
actually.
Yeah, I am a little surprised actually.
Usually he does respond to me, or at least make a
we'll
post for me.
Yeah, something, some kind of. Maybe it's coming. Who knows? All right. So next in line here, moving along, we do got. So starting at the top now, we got a cursed. Was just before that. Cursed getting some interesting changes here. I'm a huge fan of a Curse personally, so I was definitely excited to see these. The Cauterize now applies a Seer debuff to enemies and Seer buffs to allies. Fire Shield basically makes it so the Seer is applied through everything now, other than just simply auto attack. So
whenever you cast a spell or something gets hit with one of your spells, the Seer will apply. Now this has been a change that a few different people have, actually many different people have expressed to me that they really wanted it. Now, testing it in SVT, it was definitely pretty concerning for me. Like, I did not even want to test it. I thought that the change would be incredibly too strong.
Yeah.
Now, in testing it still was very strong, but I still think it was a pretty good change for the hero. So I'm really happy that all those people kept at it with me and kept saying, hey, we want to see this, we want to see this. And now here it is. So thank you for all those people that, kept telling me, get this in. So
it definitely brings more of a utility presence for the hero. Now, again, as far as its competitive presence, I unfortunately don't think it's going to do much for that in the enemy. It's just some heroes, they just simply don't fit, and no matter really what you do, unless you really change something, I don't think a Curse really has that place, unfortunately. As much as I love the hero, that whole melee support style is, unless you're like a Jereziah, of course, it really doesn't attract a lot of teams. So, but who knows? Maybe this will at least give him some option here to get that utility going, as far as it's concerned for the team.
He definitely has a lot more utility now, because you
Yeah.
got to remember, like, getting Cauterized or Fire Shield on you, you now get a movement speed buff as well. So, he's not only like healing you or keeping you from damage, but you're also getting movement speed buffs to help you get out of that situation as well.
Yeah.
As well as, when the Fire Shield removes all your debuffs. So he is a lot better in that sense too, just keeping teammates alive.
All right, so moving along here, we got the next hero in line. Let me bring it up real quickly. So, of mine, I still think he needs more. Now, okay, so here's the thing. So, obviously, the change that will happen, Chain Spike no longer gets removed by magic immunity, but will be removed by physical immunity. So, makes it a little more likely to be able to last, I guess, without, having to deal with shrunken heads. The thing why I say I still think it needs more, because I honestly think
because you love the hero.
Well, yeah, I know that's kind of a trend with a lot of players and certain heroes, but people don't play him, man. This guy is so powerful. Maybe just give him everything and then make them play them, and then nerf him after and be like, okay, so he is powerful, but they'll keep using him after. I promise. I don't know, man. Something needs to happen, but yeah, no, he's already a very strong hero. So, but this change, anyways, if you want to explain.
Well, the hero's mostly built around physical anyway, and it wasn't really making sense that, it's kind of this physical ability, it's single target, so it's not like it's this big, massive AoE physical presence. So it just made more sense to have it be physical, and it also allowed him to, get to those targets that use Shrunken Head constantly. And, Void Talisman already hurts the hero a ton anyway, so it didn't really affect him that much against heroes that already get Void Talisman, because it's such a detriment for the hero anyway. So it's, in the end, it's kind of a net buff where it's not Void Talisman and Shrunken Head really hurting the hero. It's just the Void Talisman now.
Yeah. I mean, it's something, so maybe that'll get some attention for players, but God, this hero needs to be I mean, do you agree? Do you think this hero's powerful and we should see him more in competitive play? I mean,
in competitive play?
Yeah.
We have seen him a couple times, not recently.
Yeah, a couple times.
Not as much as you would like, of
Exactly.
course. Any hero that's focused on just kind of single target, pick someone and chase him until you kill him, I think any of those heroes are going to have some problems because
Yeah.
that is kind of the concept of Berserker. He picks someone out and then he wants to go kill that target. Any hero that does that against in a competitive setting is going to run into some issues, to be honest.
Where it's a lot more team-based, especially.
Yeah, you know, you're going to have to deal with whether it be tablets, storm spirits. So in the competitive sense, you know, or it's kind of like almost Rampage syndrome, to be honest. In the competitive sense, you know, it's hard for those heroes to really make them work when they have that mindset. But then when you go to more like the public setting, you know, you get complaints about, or at least I get complaints about those heroes because they're too strong, where there's not as much teamwork. So it's kind of like the role that hero is filling is good on one end, but not so good on the other end. And you just got to be careful that we don't forget about one scene or the other.
Yeah. It's a fine line. It's understandable. I mean, you got a classic case too is Amon-Ra. Like Amon-Ra, I think he has the highest win percentage in public play, and we never see him. Even talking about him is just considered to be like, "Are you crazy?" in competitive play. So talk about two extremes like that, man. It must be difficult dealing with stuff like that. So
it is.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Now, I mean, Berserkers, we're not done looking at him, so don't be too disappointed or anything.
Okay.
We're never done with any hero, to be honest. This was a change that we looked at as a good change, and we wanted to at least get this in for him. You know, we can't change every hero, but you know, with our more upcoming patches, we continue to look at them. You know, just like Blitz. Blitz had a change in our 3.1 patch that most people weren't very happy with. Well, we weren't done looking at them, and now look at our change that we have for this patch, which we can get into, I guess, next.
Great transition, DOGKaiser. You've been doing this long enough. You're getting better at it.
Yes, I'm getting better. Thank you.
Blitz, obviously the next one in line here, and this is a fun one. It was hinted at by actually Burrow in the dev blog, but here you go. These are the facts. Increase the base movement speed from 315 to 330, and then also, you know, the quick in now passively increases the movement speed cap by 20, 40, 60, 80. Lowered cast time from 1 second to 0.6 seconds on this pilfering. The coolest thing about this, though, he can break the haste speed. He can break haste speed. Do you know a max number that he can reach? What is the max?
602.
602? Okay. And the haste is 522, so that kind of shows you how ridiculous that actually is.
Yes.
So
he can reach it relatively early in the game too.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't need very much. I mean, well, honestly, he just needs level 4 of this ability, and he can reach it. He doesn't even need boots, especially with his increased base movement speed. So maybe we'll start to see some no boots Blitz builds. Who knows? But the 330 movement speed is honestly, at least I like the quicken change. I think that helps him. But the 15 more movement speed is really what affected me more. Like when I was playing in game, especially in the laning phase, like no one can get away from you. It's impossible. At least that's what it felt like. You know, a lot of people complain about like Lodestone, for instance. I never lost a single lane against a Lodestone with a Blitz, but I don't know. That's just in my testing.
After all, you're DOGKaiser.
Well, some people think I suck, so they're probably more correct. So, but if I do suck, you know, I guess if my Blitz is beating a Lodestone, that should tell you a lot, either about the Lodestone player or maybe that Blitz is actually really good, which that's where I would lean towards because my SPTers are really good players. Yeah. As much as people think that they're bad, you know, they are more 1800 plus players, so I have trouble competing with them.
Right on. Okay, so yeah, Blitz there again. That's gonna be fun to see. I don't know as far as this competitive valuableness here with this change. It seems like that there could be some potential. Like you said, the build-up isn't even necessarily that much in terms of him getting that crazy movement speed and even breaking the haste speed in general. So more as a support style hero, even possibly to lead up to some ganks. I don't know, but
yeah, most support heroes don't move above 300, let alone 330.
Yeah.
So.
That's true. He's
we'll
a little faster than that. All right, so moving down the list, pull it back up here. Corrupted Disciple. This was I was definitely interested to see these changes, specifically with his conduit in this case. So his cast type was changed from magic to physical, which is actually a pretty big deal. Reduced cast action time from 500 to 400, and now can only be removed by getting out of the 700 range. So. I mean, the first part of it, though, changing it from magic to physical, that means, obviously like a shrunken head would not be able to
Correct.
remove it in this case. So
where before Shrunken Head would pretty much just completely disable this ability almost in its entirety, and now Shrunken Head does nothing to it essentially. Like the only way to really deal with this ability is to either let it soak your damage up or get out of its range. So whenever Corrupted puts it on you, you got to make that choice. It's no longer kind of like an easy I'll just get a Shrunken Head to deal with this ability. And it allows Corrupted to build what he normally wants to build, kind of that tankier route, and put this on whether it be a carry or just a tanky hero, because he just wants to get a lot of extra damage from that tanky enemy hero, and really have that be his damage source, and having people unable to get rid of it just makes it that much more reliable for him. Now, this change actually started from a PM a guy sent me. Sometimes I get PMs, and people, I listen. I do listen to people. This started with just a regular forum poster who sent me a PM and said, "Hey, Corrupted needs some changes, and here's what I think about him. This is what I think he should get." We didn't go exactly with those changes, but he made a very solid PM to me, and that's where these changes ended up coming from. I hope he actually ends up liking them. I guess we'll see. But anyone who wants to, feel free to PM me if you think things need changed. And as long as you give reasonings, I do listen to them. And here's one. Just one guy, made a PM to me and ends up getting his change in. So
yeah, there you go. So PM DOGKaiser with all your balance issues. As long as you give reason, then you'll be good. That box is going to fill up, man. I don't know how full it is right now, but inbox.
Yeah, I should make a comment about that. I don't get to all of them, but I try to.
Try to. Fair enough. All right, moving down the list here. This is one that Emperor, I'm sure, would be happy to see. Obviously over in Thailand right now, competing over there. Here's newer, so we'll see if maybe it gets him to pick up Cthulhuphant over there. I'm sure it will even. Cthulhuphant, the hook him, mana cost reduced from 80 to 75, and then also the cooldown decreased from 60, 50, 40, 30 to 40, 35, 30, 25. So, some may seem like slight changes with the numbers, but, it could be pretty significant with that hook him ability here. So what was the thought behind this, though, for the Cthulhuphant? No more than just...
Really, it was just... Before Emperor left, him coming up and constantly pestering me that his hero needs... No, not really. But no, a lot of it did come from, Emperor's playstyle with the hero. When we first made this hero, we didn't really... his focus didn't really want to be on that jungle aspect. But he kind of showed just, him and, many other people, but him being from the competitive scene kind of had a little bit more focus point. Just how valuable this hero can be in the jungle, and not only that, but be used as maybe more of a counter to other jungle heroes, similar to like Parasite, but this hero doing it in a slightly different fashion than what Parasite will. And so that's what we try to focus him towards in this patch, kind of giving him more of a focus towards the jungle role, and maybe be another pseudo counter to other jungles.
Okay. We'll see if that steps up here for Mr. Cthulhuphant or not with these changes. Dampeer, the next one on the list, Bloodthirst. Each essence now grants a bonus 10 attack speed. So gives him, as it says here in the text, giving him more carry potential at least when it comes down to the later game as far as that right-click auto attack even. So trying to give Dampeer more of a later game status here.
And not only that, but his essences affect all of his other abilities. Yeah. So now, it makes more sense that this ability also gets some added benefits due to essences. So just going along those lines of having those heroes fit those more niche roles and making them have a little bit more direction towards that. So now this ability isn't left out in the dark while the other three benefit from the essences.
Yeah. Okay, Deadwood next in line. This is definitely a popular hero, both on public and competitive scenes. His Willowmaker, as I call the Falcon Punch, his ultimate in the end, increased cooldown from 85, 75, 65 to 185.70. So again, you may see it 15 seconds, 10 seconds, 5 seconds. It's like, okay, not that much, but that actually at 15 seconds at level 6, that's pretty big.
It's a lot larger than you think.
Yeah.
Like pretty much every SP tier that saw this change at first were kind of like, that's not going to do anything. I don't care. And then playing with Deadwoods, every single one was complaining about that cooldown. Yeah. So it definitely affects him. And Deadwood players do take notice of it because, you know, it's where before it was kind of like Deadwood would punch you and then you'd get back to lane and like it felt like,
seems like
10 seconds later he's going to punch you again is what it feels like. So it does give you a lot more room to work around his ultimate.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's, and again, that is a hero we see quite a bit on the competitive scene, and I'm sure even after this change we'll still see him. It's just a matter of, you know, how much of an impact will ultimately be revealed as a result of this change here when it comes down to him being picked up in the competitive scene. So, Dr. Repulsor, this is a fun hero, man, a hero that we never really see anymore, but I would like to see him back. He obviously makes for some entertaining play. So getting some buffs here. The base movement speed as well as the starting strength getting increased, as well as his magnetic contraption. Lifetime increased from 12 to 16 seconds, as I call the electric turd.
Exactly.
Getting increased.
So I mean, exactly what we made the comment on for this one. It's just really trying to help his early game, keeping him from, or helping him to stay alive before he hits level 6. You know, between the strength, so he gets more hit points, movement speed, he can move out of the range, and the magnetic contraption, or electric turd, as you like to say, will give him better vision to help him avoid those ganks, since he is so fragile, you know, before he hits level 6. So it's not trying to make him immune to such things, but it's trying to, you know, give him a little bit more of a push to help him in that direction.
Yeah. So we'll see for a good old Dr. Repulsor here.
Cause I mean, that's the other thing. It's like it's a very touchy hero. Like when he hits level 6, that's like really when you got to watch out.
Oh yeah.
So if we make it, if it's too easy to hit level 6 with him, then it, you know, it kind of becomes scary, because then it's like, how do you avoid him if he has a really good start? So that's one thing we got to be careful of, and that's why you probably don't see such huge boosts to him. Yeah,
I mean, no doubt. There's always that fine line with so many heroes of you can just tweak, you know, slightest number, and all of a sudden they're taking off, and before you know it, they're the most dominant hero in the game. So understandable there. Gravekeeper, next one in line here, getting a change to his corpse explosion. Actually,
that's right. When you explode the corpses, if there's no corpses there, it'll still do something.
Okay.
So that's the biggest part of that change.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah.
So his overall damage on the ability is still the same. It's just going to do more damage with the lower amount of corpses you have. But once you hit the maximum amount of corpses, it's actually the same amount of damage as what it was.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, yeah, that makes some more sense then on it. So this was a fun one. Gunblade. He actually got a pretty cool change here. He got several changes, as you can see in the text, but the biggest one, I think, is that grappling shot, his ultimate being changed to now it's a reverse Rampage ultimate is what a lot of people refer to. Yeah. Where you actually grapple yourself onto somebody and then you go around with them, kind of like an empath almost, but for the enemy. So thoughts on that?
Well, I'll start with the demonic shield just real quick.
Sure.
You know, the demonic shield, was the only self shield that could not be, or that could still be dispelled or transferred. Like any other self shield in the game could not be. So it didn't really make sense to have just his allowed to be dispelled and transferred. So that's why we ended up changing the demonic shield. Mm-hmm. The lethal range and the grappling shot, again, was really trying to focus on, you know, what is this hero really trying to focus on? Well, he's trying to focus on getting close range to people, and he gains benefits for being closer to the enemy heroes. So we made lethal range have a much bigger jump in damage when you get within that lethal range, rather than making it completely linear. We now want you to get, you know, an extra bonus because you're within that lethal range. And to, you know, help emphasize again being in close range, the grappling shot, obviously, to help you attach to people and continue to stay in close range while you're pummeling auto attacks into them. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to feel like you know, you're always right-clicking and moving and trying to stay. Whenever you're chasing a hero, it's like nearly impossible to try to stay within lethal range. So now with the grappling shot, you can actually feel like you stay within lethal range for at least, at least as long as the grappling shot lasts. You
Yeah.
feel like you can stay within that range.
If Empath jumps inside Gunblade, then Gunblade could then jump on somebody else, since the Empath would be on Gunblade. So that just looks sounds weird. It's like 3 heroes like all in the same spot on top of one another. Something crazy is going on there. Yeah, I love the idea though of that just in general, and
It's
Gunblade,
a lot of fun to use too.
Yeah.
And it makes for some really crazy moments. I think most of the time I died with the ability just because I wanted to use it, and I would jump into some pretty bad situations. And now I know that's not really what a balance designer should be doing, but it was just so much fun to use that I couldn't help myself.
Yeah,
It's just like I'd see a target and I'd have
wanna
to go
use it.
grappling shot him.
Yeah, it definitely promotes for some
Yeah.
balls to the wall moments, I like to say. So, again, Gunblade though, in general, I've always loved the concept of the hero, the idea that he's ranged, but he wants to get close to the guy. It's definitely a fun concept, but when it comes to competitive, basically non-existent, unfortunately. So maybe this, who knows? Who knows if this will get some interest here. Kinesis next in line, our 100th hero. Getting some changes here. Will now deal the full magic damage to the primary target when activating it again to drop them early. That's what's the stasis smash. And then also his mass control. Okay, we'll pick up the closest 357 things in 1,000 radius rather than the target area, and then cast range of second activation increase from 600 to 750. So buffing him in a couple places here.
Yeah, the thing that's strange to me about this hero is just how much damage he can dish out.
Yeah.
Yet he has the lowest win rate in our game. It's
Really?
just it's mind-boggling to me. Yeah,
Actually, he's the
he does
lowest,
have
wow.
the lowest win rate, and it's just mind-boggling to me. Just you can do the numbers on it, but apparently either it's like how much skill it takes to use the hero, or how difficult it is to achieve said damage outputs. Maybe those were the problems, and that's kind of what we tried to address here. Having the stasis smash being, you get the damage even if you drop it early on the main target, and the mass control, you no longer have to, have as many multiple button pressed. How you have to press R, click the trees, and then go back and find your target, and then click your target.
Mm-hmm.
So you lost a lot of valuable time that you might want to have this perfect AoE set, and you might miss it just because of that fraction of a second that you had to move your mouse away, which I think a lot of players experience. I know I, for one, experienced occasionally, as far as you miss that ultimate occasionally because of that. And that's kind of what we addressed with the mass control. Just you press your ultimate button, the trees just lift up for you, and then so you can already have your mouse pointer on the location that you're looking to target. Not only that, but the increased activation range that we have on there will allow you to, have a better distance between yourself and the enemies.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
Jeppins did
Go
his
ahead.
part to try to make it seen on the competitive scene, but
he
unfortunately,
did.
and wasn't really picked up after that.
Even
by
though he
everybody
did
else.
get a lot of kills with it,
Yeah.
surprisingly.
Yeah, no, the damage output, I mean, the few times we do see that you're right, it is pretty insane, especially with that mass control, the burst damage that comes out of him. So, I mean, there are several heroes like that. You got a hero like Alonia, definitely has crazy burst potential.
I would say Alonia is more sustained damage, personally.
More like constant, I guess. Yeah, that's actually a
Yeah.
good point. Who am I trying to... Wow, I can't believe I'm forgetting her name. The one
Artesia?
Artesia, yeah, of
Artesia,
course.
sorry.
Yeah, Artesia.
Yeah, I always say that name wrong for some reason.
Artesia, yeah, that's another one that just has insane burst potential, but never see, so... but yeah, no, that's interesting to hear, the lowest win percentage on Kinesis. I definitely wouldn't have expected that. Anywho, moving along here, Lord Salforis. I'm not going to read off everything, but the general concept of it is that he's becoming even more of an anti-healer type hero. First thing I want to say before you start, though, Kaiser,
Okay.
I will take a lot of credit for these changes because
You will.
I suggested a Mortal Strike way back in the day.
Oh my goodness.
And being a World of Warcraft player myself, and it's good to see that you guys have finally listened to me. So.
All right. We'll give you that one, Breaky. Okay. Well, actually, a lot of these changes and a lot of the ideas for these said changes came from the balance forums. There's a really good post about Lord Salforis on there. We did listen to it, and that's where a lot of this came from. So I have to definitely give a lot of thanks and props to the people on the balance forums to give such good suggestions and ideas, and that's that's the reason why these Lord Salforis changes happened.
Yeah.
So I thank you guys on the balance forums.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Not you, Breaky.
Damn it.
But yeah, I mean, those people thought that, this hero's focus, so it really was, the anti-healer aspect, and they gave us some really good incentives and ideas to make that happen, and that's what we tried to utilize, and we agreed with them. So, and the other thing about the Undying, why we put that on the Staff of the Master, not only was the soul, not really accomplishing a whole lot by itself, we also wanted to make it stronger. So that's why we ended up putting it on the Staff of the Master and ended up making the normal ability just a little bit better by itself.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so yeah, I did read that right. Yeah, that was a little bit of an interesting part of that, to see that he no longer gets that without the Staff of the Master now, but still.
But it is a lot stronger than it used to be.
Yes, that you did buff out other places of it, so it definitely can make sense at the same time. Yeah, I've always thought Salforis, I mean, he has one of the stronger laning presences in the game, I think. I mean, just alone with his W, whatever it's called, the lifesteal, but this could, I mean, the fact that he now has that Mortal Strike effect, I wouldn't be surprised to maybe see some kind of use out of this here on the competitive scene, but...
I think the competitive scene has kind of steered away from some healing lineups lately.
Yeah.
So I mean... In the current...
Kinda.
Well, there's a couple, okay.
There's always, like, Ophelia's, like, always there. Like, that's a big one.
True,
so.
True.
And then, we'll Astrolabes in general, so...
I hope you're right with that, but I think there probably will need to be more healers to be used to really make this hero effective, but maybe just the Ophelia heal would be enough. We'll see.
True. All right, so moving along here to the next one, Lodestone. I think it's kind of funny, but I think out of all the heroes that we've seen, I think this is the first one that we're reading that is a nerf, actually, on these heroes. So on the list at least. So Lodestone coming up, mana cost increase from 100 to 120 seconds on his rocket drill. So slight mana cost increase, but prevents more comboing, I guess, using multiple times earlier on.
Well, not only can he not use it twice early on without having significant mana increase from his starting intelligence, but also when he becomes level 6, it makes him a lot harder to combo, So if he's ever in that like suicide roll or something, he's really got to invest in some mana items now in order to really make full effect of his combo. So at least in SPT, his suicide ability has been significantly decreased due to this change. Okay. And I wouldn't be surprised if the competitors end up exploiting this quite a bit, actually.
Yeah. All right. We will see. Martyr, next one in line here. I've always been a fan of Martyr. Getting some base stat changes here. Strength getting increased. Strength gain increase as well as the intelligence gain increase. But buffing up the strength a little bit, giving him more survivability.
Yeah, again, another hero that we're trying to focus, like what role is he really kind of focused on, and it's the support that's hard to kill. Like in our game, he is the support that's really, really hard to kill. And so we're trying to emphasize that even more. Like if you want a support hero that isn't going 0-10 or whatever, and still is providing some defensive means to your team, that's what we're trying to emphasize Martyr with, is just making it so he's much more difficult to kill. And let me tell you, in SPT, he was a lot more difficult to kill. Sometimes I felt like he was a pain in the rear end, and I was kind of questioning the change, but I think it'll still be all right.
Yeah. I'm a fan of Martyr. I really am. But again, the idea of seeing a competitive, maybe not. We'll see. But it definitely makes sense. Getting beefing up and can help him with his presence in those games. So. Next in line, Pandemonium here. We got the push time increase from 250 to 300. That's, I guess, really not much.
It is kind of minor, but what it kind of helps to alleviate is a lot of times you would like the Pandemonium would kind of go past his target.
Yeah, that's true.
So now it's kind of helping with that, so that the target will kind of stay in line with you when you flurry him. So that's really what it's mostly focusing on, is so that when you do continue like a triple flurry, that most of the time they're going to stay right in line with you.
It does seem like there are those times, those awkward times where you start flooring on somebody, and all of a sudden you go off to the side a little bit, and it's like, oh, damn it, now you just for nothing. So,
it's trying to help with that, yeah.
For sure. Now, I'm actually, I honestly, again, a lot of changes happened, so I looked through a lot of them and definitely went over them, but I missed over Pestilence. I'm just reading it now, and oh my god, I am loving this, man. I mean, he got quite a bit. His flight got buffed yet
yes,
again.
He did.
I mean, the increased duration, the unit walking, that's huge. The gore getting several changes, including the magical to Why the hell was gore even magical in the first place? I'm honest, I didn't even realize that, I guess. But
I believe the reason why it was, and this I believe was kind of like ported, but I believe the reason why it was to lower the damage output of the hero.
Okay.
I mean, why wouldn't you just take the damage and scale it downwards if you wanted to lower the damage output of the hero? I'm not sure, but anyway, I think that's why it was. Anyway, we made it physical because that makes more sense with the hero, like you just said. And we buffed the damage.
Okay, so hey, let's make Pestilence really powerful. Yeah, that's.
This was actually the hero that, out of the balance changes, this is one that actually kind of scares me the most as far as what it might do, to be honest.
I understand that. Because this is a pretty big deal.
It's a lot of changes, and it's not like it's a hero that's unusable to begin with.
Yeah.
But we, again, wanted to emphasize, again with this hero, his strong points. Like you said, he's physical, emphasize his minus armor, and give him more presence with that gore, because that's kind of what makes him different, along with the flight increase, of course. It's a hero that's flying around constantly, trying to get impales off, maybe poke at people with gore. So
you bring back minus armor, being able to affect Kongor, and Pestilence will be the number one hero.
Probably.
I would not be surprised. Yeah, I'm very excited, and honestly, I really can see the competitive scene stepping up with these changes. I mean, he's always been considered a decent hero, but he just has better, I guess, counterparts. But with these changes, that's pretty. I mean, the flight change, because he recently, I don't know if it was a runic shift patch now, but he got the amp damage removed in the first place on flight, right?
Yes.
And now he got it buffing even more. Like I said, 5 more seconds as well as unit walking on top of that. So
I would be very surprised to not see this hero.
Yeah.
I would have to say the only reason why we would not see this hero is because teams just never tried him.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so now this next one is one that we had an anonymous tip on a recent podcast. I
don't know where that was from.
No clue.
He got scolded for it, though.
So we know it's a he. All right, so battle experience getting changed, so getting nerfed even. Armor ignore from 20, 30, 40, 50 to 15, 30, 45, 60. So it's better now at the later stage, but obviously the early stage it got nerfed. And then remove the attack damage outright. So I'll let you explain.
So again, trying to keep heroes with their unique aspects. A lot of people complain about Rally's Compel.
Yeah.
If we change the Compel, that is what makes Rally really unique. So we don't really want to touch the Compel if we can help it, unless it's just too over the top, which I don't believe that it is, because there are counters to it. But we do think that Rally needed some sort of a change, and what his laning presence is really what people mostly complained about, between his Compel and his ability to last hit. So we went with his ability to last hit and ended up taking that down a notch. And I think this will make it a lot easier for teams to lane against him and not make him such a good 1v1 or solo suicide hero.
It was really interesting. Yesterday, I obviously had Riser on to cast the Alienware tournament with me, and it was a short game, ended up being a short cast, but I got the chance to ask him about Rally in general, and obviously with the patch coming up, but now he made it clear, like, he's never seen the patch himself, so that was interesting to, obviously, not only that, but anyways, when I asked him about Rally, what he thinks needs to be changed, he honestly said very similar to what you just said. He brought up the point about Compel being, that would honestly take away from what the hero ultimately is. So it's hard to really change that in a sense, or even take it away. In his mind, he thought, nerfing the laning presence, something like his passive, it's a little powerful, so maybe toning that down for the laning stage. And I actually asked him out. I was like, wait, so you're sure you've never seen the patch notes, right? And he's like, no, I haven't seen them. I'm like, okay. So sure enough, they come out today, and that's basically what happened. So, I mean, that's definitely got to be good to hear as well.
Well, Roger's a smart guy then.
He is a very smart guy. All right, so yeah, Rally getting those again. Still, we expect to no doubt see him at even a top tier in competitive play, but
oh yeah, I'd be surprised if this completely takes him off the market.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just I would just say that people are gonna think a little bit more when they're picking him, and not just willy nilly pick him first pick or whatever.
yeah. All right, so Rampage, next one here. Kind of a minor one, I guess, but break range increased from 500 to 575 on his ultimate.
Well, it's mainly due to tablets.
Okay.
You cannot tablet the hero that Rampage uses his ultimate on, but you can tablet the Rampage himself, which tended to usually break his ultimate. Now that will not, unless he's moving really, really fast or gets double tableted. I guess then it could.
Okay.
But in general, just one tablet should not break Rampage's ultimate anymore.
Okay. Well, that's definitely makes sense there. So, the pub stomp hero that is Rampage.
Sorry, guys.
Again, he's one of those heroes, man. You even brought it up earlier. It's that fine line of competitive and public. It's tough
yeah,
sometimes.
and trying to find changes that can bring him into the competitive scene with not just making him stronger for the public scene can be very difficult. Let's just say.
Definitely. All right, this next one here is some interesting stuff. Actually, I'll really just kind of let you explain it. Ravener, got coming out here. So,
the simplest way to explain this ultimate is that it's about twice as good as what it used to be.
Wow.
As far as the cap of it, it's pretty close to that. And also, whenever he auto attacks, it does superior magic damage. Now, for those that don't know what superior magic damage is on an auto attack, it's kind of like Harkon's, so that it does do magic damage, but superior magic damage makes it so that it goes through Shrunken Head or magic immunity in general. Now, magic armor will still affect it. So the only way to really counter or kind of deal with Ravener's ultimate, so to say, would be to get magic armor. So Shrunken Heads or magic immunity will no longer hard counter Ravener, and it also kind of, Ravener gets more towards his niche, which is, he's an auto attack hero that does all magic damage. So that's what we're looking for. Both a buff to his ultimate, and making it that really strong presence that's, harder to build up. But once he does build it up, then he becomes like exactly what the ability says, power overwhelming.
Yeah.
So.
He's actually I've had the chance to play a couple times, specifically in Mid Wars, really, but in a couple of regular games too. And he's a lot of fun to play. He's a lot of fun to play. He has great snowballing potential. I don't know what maybe you can explain this to me. Why is it called Ball Lightning? I've still tried to figure this out. To me, that just sounds weird.
Considering how many times I mispronounce names and usually don't look at names, I'm usually looking at, tooltips and numbers. I'm the wrong guy to ask
Tap
for
Burrow
that.
on
I'm
the
sorry.
shoulder over there. Make him answer for us. Is he actually over there?
No, he's not.
Of course he's not.
Sorry,
he's
guys.
dodging. Well, when he gets back, we'll make sure to ask him that. Okay, so moving along here from Ravener. Now this one, actually, am I reading this correctly? Revenant. His manifestation, which is his ultimate, is now instead of the normal ultimate being 6'11", 16, it's now 4'8", 12. What?
This was an ultimate that when we first tested it in SBT, the dual cast happened at level 6, which was really, really strong. Being able to have 2 heroes with all of your abilities at level 6. So we ended up having to switch it to level 11 when he could get the double cast. Well, we took another look at it, and level 11 still feels like it takes way too long to get the double cast.
Okay.
So what do we go with? Lower the requirement. So that's where we ended up with manifestation for Revenant is we wanted to kind of balance it out in that sense, as far as we didn't want it to be a level 6 when he double cast, and we didn't want it to be level 11, so we went right in the middle and went with level 8.
Doesn't that change such a sacred part of the game, though? I mean,
Um,
level 6, 11, and 16, man. That's like, those numbers are...
yeah. Yeah.
But it was necessary in this case.
It made sense with this
Okay.
hero. I'll
It
say
does.
that.
It does make sense. I agree there, and you are totally right that another hero that I do like to play is Revenant, and the level 11, it seemed like it took forever to, and then once you got there, it's like, okay, is that really as impactful as you want it to be? So I understand why the changes, but yeah, that would be the only thing I would have to say. Is
You,
like,
you understand the changes, but because it's like the one hero that can do that. But then again, you know, we're trying to look at more of the heroes filling their niches. That's what we're looking at, and some of those barriers have to be broken. Like, I mean,
like Blitz with breaking
breaking 522 movement speed. How sacred is that? Well, I guess not anymore. But
that's to breaking the rules.
I think what we gotta keep in mind with when we do break these rules, though, is to try to keep those heroes like they have the breaks. And try not to give it to a whole bunch of heroes, because then they're going to start to lose their uniqueness. If we make more heroes, for instance, that can break the max movement speed cap, or if we make more heroes that can level their ultimates sooner, it's going to make these heroes that we just changed less unique. So that's one thing that we're going to try to be careful of with, is that making sure that not all heroes gain these benefits, so that everyone still kind of has their own niche of what they can do and provide.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
I think you know what's coming.
Solstice, right?
Solstice, yes. We're nothing happened to Salomon, so we'll just skip over him.
That's true.
You should actually get Waz on for this. Waz should be the one to explain. What is he doing in the background? Can you go slap him real quick?
I don't think I want to know. Oh
boy.
Wow.
Oh boy. So here we go. I'm gonna actually pull up a video. This is Lightning Cold me this video to actually show the abilities and everything. Salomon, DOGKaiser. He got the rework hammer here with patch 3.2. In fact, it was named Salomon's Fortune for good reason.
That's right.
I'll let you take over. I mean, so what was the concept? What was the idea behind this hero, and why these changes?
A lot of the concept that we wanted to have is, he's a Djinn. So this is almost a little bit more lore-ish. So sorry about that for the people that don't like lore. But, Djinns usually have wishes, so we wanted to kind of focus his theme and his abilities kind of around wishes and what he can wish for. That's why he's got, wish for power, wish for wealth, wish for revenge. It's just, he's really trying to focus more on, what do most people wish for? And those are things, and we built the hero kind of around that. Exactly, gold. So he can get more wealth. He can hit harder, and then he can take his vengeance out on enemy heroes as well. So, and the other unique thing that we ended up trying to give him, or we did give him, not trying, sorry. Then the other thing we gave him was the attack speed aura. That's another aura in our game that we don't see anywhere else. So as far as pushing capabilities, he can really excel at that as well. So that's kind of what he's focusing towards, or what you want to do with the hero is you want to build up a large amount of farm to begin with, and then kind of group up with your team and kind of snowball forward with his increased GPM. Now, what you want to kind of want to do against the hero is either take him down in lane early on, because he has really weak laning, because he can't really wish for wealth if someone's constantly poking at him, and either that, or kind of make it go towards a really late game, because Salomon does max out on items earlier than any other hero does. So once he kind of maxes out, he never gets any stronger. And at that point, he just keeps taking gold away from his teams. And in combination with the only 2 buyback system, along with the fact that he doesn't really have any abilities that are that good at scaling, the longer the game goes, the weaker the hero becomes. So for those of you who are having problems with the hero, don't give up on the game. There's plenty of games, even in SPT, where it felt like Salomon was crushing us, where it would be like 40 to 20 games. And we'd end up coming back and winning just because the hero caps out and he no longer gets stronger as you keep playing.
Okay, so a couple of questions I want to follow up now with Salomon concerning. Okay, so first off, you made a point earlier, with Pestilence, the changes that he had, you're not scared necessarily, but you're very curious to see how it's impacted in the scene, and you're gonna watch it carefully. Is that safe to say it's gonna be the same thing for Alchem? Or wow, for Salomon here when it comes down to it? You know, okay, since I slipped up there, we'll just touch on that real quickly.
Might as well.
So what is your response to people that say this is an Alchemist port coming out?
Well, the gold mechanic for sure is pretty much kind of an Alchemist port. You know, we did try a number of different things. We wanted to get a gold mechanic in the game. Yeah. And honestly, we tried a number of different mechanics, just like Dota did when they did their Alchemist. When they had Alchemist, I remember playing it, and they had a number of different gold mechanics, whether it be flat amounts or not flat amounts. And you know what? In this one, I have to give them some credit that they were right in how they ended up using it, as far as give some flat amount and then giving it a build up to a cap. Yeah. That's what ended up working out the best for us in SBT, and I'll give them some credit there. But we did honestly try a number of different ways to do it, because we didn't want the direct port at first, but we also wanted a gold mechanic in the game. Mm-hmm. So we had to go with one or the other. We went with getting a gold mechanic in the game. Yeah. As far as the other abilities, none of the other abilities really have anything to do with Alchemist. So as far as a direct Alchemist port, I mean, that's just one ability. So I'm not really certain how people can really make the comparison that it's like, we now have Alchemist in the game. Yeah. So we have one of his abilities in the game. I'll give him that. But that's all I can give credit for.
Yeah, I mean, how many abilities go through all the games in the genre? Really, I've always thought that was to be silly, but no. But the other part of that I was going to ask, though, specifically with the gold change. I mean, there's already been forum posts made about, like, oh, he played one public game, and but he had 800 gold per minute in a regular game. I mean, it's ridiculous. Are you really watching that? Is there a chance that may be toned down? I mean,
of course, yeah. Of course. You know, it's the same thing from the 3.1 patch that we had Predator and Elder Parasite. Those were toned down very quickly after the patch was released, because they needed some toning down, and we will do the exact same thing with Salomon if he needs it.
Yeah. Okay. So, keep an eye on that. So, yeah, again, Salomon obviously a big, in fact, again, he is named, the patch is named after him, for understandably, so that's going to be fun to see him, though, and you know what, how that evolves over time. I personally, I do like this better than what he was before, just a personal opinion. I think it's a little more attractive as far as
I would definitely agree. And there's people that liked Salomon before, at least the ones that I've talked to. I can't speak for everyone, but at least the ones that I've talked to definitely have liked the rework a lot more too. Yeah. Even though it didn't sound as appealing as their old Salomon, once they played it, they fell in love with it. So I hope that's all old Salomon players, that they really enjoy the new rework of it. But if you don't, I'm sorry.
All right, so Solstice now, the next one in line here. Graceful Strikes, his daytime attack damage bonus increased. As you can see, so earlier on increased, but later it got decreased slightly. So Solstice receiving some changes here. Waza, did he approve?
Of course he approved. He wanted it to, skyrocket back to his old self, but fortunately, you guys are welcome. I'm here to help you out. So we gave him a little bit back of his. A little bit back to his old jungle capabilities, but didn't want to, go back to what his old previous self had done to the game previously. So that's just a fine tweak, nothing more than that.
Tempest, very impactful here on the competitive scene, and definitely a change that's trying to tone him down a little bit. No longer can level 1 deny at the beginning.
And this one had some differing opinions about whether this would be good for the hero or not, because a lot of people like the ability to deny creeps because it might change up the lanes a little bit. But in some sense, Plague Rider already has that ability. So if you want to manipulate creep waves, why not leave it to the main unique aspect of Plague Rider? Tempest already provides a lot of utility. And so that's kind of why we wanted to remove it from this hero, so that it toned down his utility a little bit and had Tempest be more focused towards, the ability that he can jungle, and he has that big game-turning ultimate in the late game. So that's where we want his focus to lie in, not in the unique aspect that comes with Plague Rider.
Yeah, same thing with Rally. I mean, by all means, still going to be a top tier hero, I think it's safe to say, but definitely could have used some toning down, and this is a big part, I see, so of accomplishing that at least. So Thunderbringer, a hero, speaking of the opposite, can be toned up a little bit, I think. Lightning Storm did get the cooldown decrease from 120 being flat at all levels to 120, 110, 100. So again, it's a minor.
It is minor, but it is similar to kind of like the Deadwood ultimate cooldown change.
Yeah.
Is that it doesn't look like much when you see it just in the patch notes, but you really start to feel it when you play the heroes, and when it's either on cooldown or not on cooldown. You take a lot more notice of it, and it just it has that feeling that it's up more. It doesn't have that feeling like that it's always down or like you can never use it. So it definitely has a pretty big impact as far as when Thunderbringer hits 16. I'd say more the issue is trying to get Thunderbringer to 16 seems to be more of my issue, to be honest.
Yeah.
But Thunderbringer still does output a ton of damage. It's just kind of you need them in like the right situations, either that or the right lineups. This is another hero that could almost be similar to like a Sir Bensington lineup, if people can find a way to lane it, is I would say the biggest thing as far as that global presence and really dishing out a ton of damage that the enemy team might have trouble dealing with.
Yeah. Yeah, fine. This is also a buff to the best item for Thunderbringer in the game, the Restoration Stone, of course.
That's right.
Making the cooldown a little bit less, so can help out there for sitting in the well and spamming R.
Nobody likes doing that.
Pan no, I'm sorry. Pan Man's telling me to talk into the mic. I keep looking over at him, and he's like, talking to the mic.
That's okay.
Can you guys hear me just fine when I do this? Can you guys hear me in chat when I talk like this? It's like a delay, so I'm not talking to you guys. I got people turning their heads looking at me. Like, what's going on? Anyways. Okay, so moving along here. Who's next in line? It looks like we have
Tremble.
So Tremble getting these Terror Mounds seems like to be the name of the game here for Tremble receiving changes.
Pretty much. Terror Mounds, we're really trying to remove the annoying aspects of the Terror Mounds, and well, that's pretty much it. We're trying to remove the annoying aspects of the Terror Mounds while still making them do what they're supposed to do. Yeah. So we've made them invisible, so they're harder to target for the enemies, which is good for Tremble, but we've also made it so that they're easier to kill, which is really good for the people that have to go around killing these things, and they take 5 years to die.
Oh god, yeah.
So now you have just a number of auto attacks, so you know how long it's going to take every time. It's going to take that many auto attacks, rather than if you're the Glacius doing 50 damage and you're trying to kill a 700 mound, it just doesn't really work.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we focus this around, is just making the Terror Mounds more acceptable for everyone, so that Tremble's going to feel like he can get more uses out of it, and the enemies are no longer going to be screwed over by, I have to go kill this thing again. Now you're going to feel a little bit more rewarded for it, and it's going to be easier for you to do. But then, again, like I said, more difficult because they're invisible as well, but you know where they're at, so you should be able to find some sort of detection for them.
Interesting, yeah. It's going to be fun to see how that has an impact here. I'll see if maybe Kezu brings this Tremble play back or not on the competitive scene. Valkyrie, next hero in line, so we're getting down to the end here. But Valkyrie going to be the next hero. This is a hero, I mean, she's been getting several buff backs lately as far as her arrow being changed again. And now you got this, the Valkyrie Prism, her ultimate duration increase from 7, 9, 11 to 10, 13, 16 seconds. That's pretty
large
longer,
buff.
Yeah.
Now, kind of what we're going for with that, and this was expressed from competitive players, that they want to be able to use this more offensively. And the biggest issue that they were having with it is the duration of it, especially at the beginning. You have a long fade time, and then you kind of have to do it within like 4 seconds of invis. So there wasn't much play around in the level 6 of the Valkyrie Prism. So we increased that significantly in order to try to give some teams some play with that. It is also it is a hero that we would like to see back on the scene. It's been quite a while since she's been on it, and she is a lot of fun to watch, especially the Javelin. So it is a hero that we are trying to see if we can get back on the market.
Yeah. Yeah, I 100% agree with you there as far as her being fun to watch. I mean, of course, the arrow is one of the most iconic abilities in the game, honestly, I think, and as far as being able to hit that and set up some kills and whatnot. So It'd be nice to see her back. Maybe again, this is at least a step in that direction of trying to nudge through the competitive scene and be like, hey, for some more buffs.
It's one of those things where the hero is definitely stronger than where she was previous to any of her nerfs.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see.
It's up to competitors. All right, so 2 more left. Vindicator, the first one on that list. Glyph of Silence getting changed slightly here. Our radius increased from 800 to 1,000. The glyph can now move at 100 movement speed. A moving glyph.
Trying to give a lot more uses for the glyph, to not make it feel so staple in its wherever you place it in its position. So now maybe you can try to hide it a little bit more. And the extra 200 range greatly helps in actually affecting enemies when they cast their spells, because when it was at 800 in a stationary position, it didn't always reach the heroes that you would want it to reach. So
it's just, this hero's been through quite a bit of changes recently. He's had a couple, a rework to an extent, and obviously now this Glyph of Silence, that being changed in the Runic Shift patch, and now even slightly more here. Has Vindicator been tough for you to find that place for him, or are you fine with just letting him evolve as he is?
It's tough as far as balance is concerned.
As far as how he's, I guess the more appropriate way to put it was, are you happy with how he's turned out?
I'm not happy that he hasn't got back onto the competitive scene.
Okay,
I'll say that honestly. But as far as when I play Vindicator, I really like the Vindicator. That's my personal opinion. I know a lot of people might disagree with that, but I know for me personally, I like playing him. Some people think that he has really weak laning. I don't think I've ever lost a lane, even if it was a 2v1 lane with Vindicator. Yeah. So I don't know. For me, I really like playing the Vindicator and think that he's a very strong hero. But that's not everyone's preference. I used to like Syllabear as well when everyone hated him. So.
And now look at him. All right, so last one on the list here. We got Voodoo Jester, fun support hero. Got a couple changes. So we'll really do a Spirit Ward. Turn rate increase from 360 to 900. And then Staff of the Master increased the amount of bounces from 010 to 012 and remove split shot. So actually, if you want to explain that there a little bit.
The turn rate of the Spirit Ward is mostly has to do with it acquiring a target. So whenever, if the ward would be hitting someone and then that person either died or ran out of the radius, and then the ward has to turn in order to get a new target, that it just took forever. Yeah. That was the feeling of delay that you would have whenever it would need to acquire a new target, is due to that turn rate. So we're trying to make it so that the Spirit Ward will adjust quicker now, instead of just kind of stopping, and then you're like, why are you stopping attacking? Keep going. So that's kind of where the turn rate helps with that.
Okay.
Now the Staff of the Master change it's almost like it's a nerf. When you get Staff of the Master and it splits to shooting 3 targets, it's almost like a nerf because it doesn't bounce. With the bounce, you can actually hit targets that are moving farther away from you, where with the split shot, it only hits targets that are around your ward.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah,
so
it does.
The split shot, we're trying to, actually make it feel like it's stronger by maybe doing some crazy bounces as well. So it's still hitting the same number of targets, but it's just, it's bouncing from the original target that it's hitting, rather than just splitting off from the ward.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. So that's interesting to see the change in that. So, okay, so that does it for the heroes here. The items, and this wasn't much of an item balance patch, unfortunately, but there were a couple, and actually pretty big change. When you really break it down, as far as the sexiness, the numbers maybe not be the most, but you got Mystic Vestments being cost increased from 400 to 500 gold, and you and I were actually discussing this the other day when you brought it up, and this actually sounds like it's a pretty significant change, honestly.
It is. It's an item that pretty much everyone in all tiers of play get this item, just about. Yeah. And increasing the price of it by 25% is going to significantly adjust when people get it, or how effective they might find it to be. And also, there's some other items that are at the 500 gold range. So sometimes you might even think about just getting something else because of that price increase. I certainly have, at least in SBT, have thought about getting a different item at quite often, actually, especially if I'm a support, because you don't always want to give up that 500 gold. So it's definitely a change to try to keep it away from just being an item that you always get. Instead, try to make it a little bit more of a decision process.
Yeah.
Now, the first change that came along with this Mystic Vestment change was all the magic armor changes, the slight tweaks to all the heroes. And that's what we wanted to do first, to sort of slightly tweak the heroes that we thought would need some more, and tweak the other heroes that we thought needed a little bit less, and then do the Mystic Vestment changes. So this is actually a continuation of that process of adjusting when magic armor happens in the game.
Okay, and also to clarify, the barrier idol also got changed, obviously, from decrease from 1,900 to kind of go with that. So
exactly, so it doesn't cost more gold.
Yeah.
In the end.
Chad is bringing up a good point too. I didn't even think, but you can kind of see this as a buff to Lex Talionis as well, the new item that came out. Maybe a little more incentive to pick that up now, knowing that Mystic Vestments is 100 gold more.
Yes.
So that's true. That's true. Maybe you can see that item a little more, which I think is definitely being underrated somewhat, at least.
Right. We've seen it a couple times.
Yeah.
But not very often, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I have seen it a couple times.
Then the last item change was actually the Shrunken Head. Actually got the sell value decreased by 100 gold every time it's used to a max of 500 minus 500 gold. So basically, when you do sell it, you usually used 5 charges, so you're gonna get 500 gold less.
Right. Or if you want to sell it off early, you'll get a little bit more back from that. But that's kind of the idea, is that a Shrunken Head, when you first buy it, it's not the same cost as like a used up Shrunken Head, because to be honest, they don't have the same value. Yeah. I mean, anyone that's the reason why it's sold in the first place and a new one's picked up, is because the new one's more valuable to the person. So that's kind of the idea behind this, is that the Shrunken Head, used Shrunken Head that you now have, has lower value, therefore you sell it for less.
There you go. Yeah, it makes sense there. So all right, sounds good. I mean, we managed to pretty much go over. Well, we did go over the whole patch when it comes to the balance. So I'm a little surprised by that, but we did
said
make
we
it
weren't
through.
Going to, Breaky.
Hey, I lied. I lie sometimes. Hey, you said you were down for it, so
I was.
We had fun as always. Okay, well, next question that we always like to do with these podcasts, try to get something out of you as far as maybe some sneak peeks. I don't know. Are there heroes that maybe weren't a part of this balance that you are being looked at, and you can say maybe expect something in the near future? I mean, don't want to put you on the spot necessarily, but
I'm not sure how much I can say for the next patch, but I will say that at least the focus right now, or more of the focus for the next patch, is, as you may have noticed, you even expressed it, that items were a little bit lacking in this patch. So that's where I would say that more of our focus is going to be towards maybe some more items.
Gotcha.
Or at least towards items.
Okay.
We'll see.
see.
But I won't say more than that, just because nothing's set in stone, so I don't really want to say something that I'm going to be held to.
It never makes it fun.
No, it doesn't.
Is Burl there yet? He's still not there, is he?
Nope. I'm sorry. Man, why do you want him again?
Ball lightning, man.
Man, why do you?
Ball lightning.
Who wants to know about that?
I do.
You do.
I do.
Well, it's a ball, and
it's lightning. It just sounds weird. Does it not sound weird to you? Ball lightning. Just saying it sounds weird.
Do you want us to put "of" in there? Is that what you're saying?
Ball of, yes. Actually, yes. That would be a lot better. Ball of lightning sounds a lot better. That and Moraxis for Moraxis. I hate that. As a caster, that can get annoying.
But it's just it's a ball lightning.
It's a ball. I don't. Just sounds weird. All right. Ball of lightning next patch. As long as that's in, I'll be happy.
Oh, okay. I'll write it down right now
that's
for
the
you.
Biggest thing. Okay, so all right, so yeah, we covered everything. Definitely got even a little bit of a sneak peek. Maybe expect more on the item side of things in the future balance patch, but not to say that heroes also won't be addressed. because I'm sure that they will. Any progress on a new hero by chance?
Honestly, we've been working on it, at least fine-tuning or working on new heroes almost the whole time. Like it's not like we've completed anything.
Yeah.
Or well, I won't say what we've completed, but we're always on the lookout for maybe a new hero, whether that be a rework to a current one or just a new one completely. We're always still keeping the ideas in mind and trying to work through the process. Now, it's not as much focused on what it used to be, that's for certain, but it's still always on the horizon to, look at getting a new hero or possibly putting one out when it's ready. That is really creepy.
That is really nice. Well, as long as you do what we agreed to and bring back the old Kraken Ultimate, I'll be happy. So, nothing.
What old Kraken Ultimate? No, I'm still like so mind blown at what just happened to me. That I
milk fat.
Old
getting
Kraken,
a little touchy feely.
Yeah, pretty much.
He does that a lot.
No, don't do that to me. Like after my mind gets blown and then throw in like old Kraken ult, like you're trying to trick me.
Well, Kraken Ultimate Man's coming back, right?
I won't say that it can't come back, but
okay, so you're saying there's a chance.
There's always a chance, or maybe some other things in the past that people have seen or liked,
like broken NG turret.
Maybe
that would be silly. All right, so let's wrap this up. I think we've accomplished what we wanted to. DOGKaiser, is there anything else you wanted to say concerning this patch and whatnot?
No, I hope everyone enjoyed it, and don't worry for the people that don't
Burrow's there. Turn around and ask him. Ball Lightning, why?
Ball Lightning, why? Why is it called Ball Lightning?
Give him the headset.
It has haste and trample.
Oh, okay.
Get him the headset, get him on camera. We need this.
Ball of Lightning. Why is it called Ball Lightning? Ball Lightning. Why is it called Ball Lightning? He wants Lightning. What's he talking to you about?
He's refusing.
He's
sorry.
refusing. He's refusing to answer this
He's
question of why Ball
question.
Lightning. Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
There's something deeper to this now. If he's refusing, there's something deeper to this.
Something...
We need to figure this out. I'm gonna go on a mission, guys, and get this figured out for you guys at home, because clearly there's something there. All right, so DOGKaiser, always as always, man, it's always a pleasure to have you on. And
pleasure to be with you, Breaky.
And go over the balance changes and whatnot. And I know the community definitely appreciates it. It's always cool to get that inside information of whether they agree or disagree. I mean, at least getting the mindset of.
I have
where
nothing to hide.
From. Yeah, exactly.
I never have, and I never will hide with it. So
there you go.
I will be more than happy to voice my reasons for changes.
And as you said, always feel free to also message you on the forums, and if you have any suggestions, as long as you
actually. Yes, I think when we said that, I probably got like 50 PMs in chat
already.
Yes, I didn't mean like on
actual
the forums, guys,
yeah,
like actual in-depth responses, not Nerf Rally.
Nerf Monkey King blocks. We're brought prisoner into the game. All right, so that is going to be doing it here for the podcast. Yeah, bring a prisoner into competitive play. That's your Nerf to Monkey King.
Easy.
Easily done. That's going to be doing it, guys. Fun as always. As far as coverage here on Honcast is concerned, so that's going to do it for today. But ladies and gentlemen, Hon Tour Season 2 officially starts tomorrow with the qualifiers. It starts at 12 p.m. Eastern, 1800 Central European Time. That is 9 a.m. Pacific. If you're playing in it, good luck to you guys. If you're going to be watching, that's when it starts for our coverage. We start with a round of 512. Yes, we actually got to a round of 512. That's how many teams that were able to sign up. So definitely excited for those numbers and excited to see how things kick off here for Hon Tour, especially with this patch just hitting, man. Not only do we have all the balancing to look forward to, but we got Captain's Pick, man. We got Captain's Pick to look forward to, and seeing how the teams are going to adjust to that. So what is that? Is that Panda in the background having fun with his plushies? That guy has so many of those plushies, man. He has just gathered more and more.
Yes, he
he's
does.
just sitting there. Those things are awesome. Those things are awesome. So many people want those. All right, but yeah, so definitely tune in tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, for the cast. Not only, and the other cool thing about that is we actually have Beef. He's actually flying in as we speak. I'm going to be going to pick him up from the airport here in a matter of a couple of hours. He is going to be flying in, and he's going to be joining myself on the cast tomorrow. As well as not only for this weekend, but even into next week. So he's just helping out for now, being a co-caster in person, and we're going to have a lot of fun with him. So Beef going to be here in person at the Honcast studio, and we're looking forward to having a lot of fun this weekend as well as this upcoming week with both Hon Tour as well as the Alienware coverage continuing. So DOGKaiser, again, one more time, appreciate it, man. Thank you as always for coming on, and good luck with future balance patches, and good luck continuing on with Balancing Heroes and bringing back the old Kraken Ultimate. I look forward to that.
Thanks, Breaky.
All right,
Pleasure, guys.
That's going to do it for the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. So until next time, have a good night.